talked to, including the decorator that was on the project, when they took a look at the facade around the front door, the surround, we believe it'd be identified as a federal style, and that's largely based on what that original surround around the front door, which was restored.
Okay. As far as you know, is the owner interested in getting this on the National Register of Historic Places?
It is. It was placed on that. And they did a ceremony and gave us a plaque to install on the outside. It was during the project that occurred.
Bruce, can you tell me, are there any significant features that have been removed or altered?
The biggest significant feature that we had to deal with from the beginning of the project, as soon as we started, we realized there's a number of fireplaces in the house. We've now restored 7 of the fireplaces. And the challenge we had was those fireplaces, the chimneys for the sets of fireplaces on the outside, on the sides of the house, had come straight up the outside walls. The problem was under current code, those fireplaces have to be at least 10 feet from any adjacent roof line or adjacent building. The problem is that we're surrounded by buildings on both sides that are within that 10-foot setback that's required in order to use those fireplaces. And since the fireplaces were so significant to the original house, and they were very significant to the owner, to have them restored so that they could be used as real wood-burning fireplaces, we actually had to offset the fireplaces towards the interior, not the fireplaces themselves, the chimney, towards the interior of the building, or the interior of the roof line. We had to bring them in far enough that we met that requirement of a 10-foot distance from the adjacent buildings. So here we were effectively given a situation by the fact that, I mean, obviously this building was earlier than the adjacent buildings, but we had to offset those. So those now, if you look at the original building, where our chimneys protrude through the roof, is more interior to the building and interior to the roof line than they were originally, which was a fairly significant hurdle to get over right at the beginning. So that I would say would be the largest. Other than that, there weren't any significant changes on the exterior nor the interior.
Did you have to do any emergency stabilization?
We didn't have to. We had to do some structural work, certainly. We discovered as we started into our work that the building had been victim to a small fire at one point, so some of the floor joists on the first floor had to be replaced. We had a structural engineer and an architect involved in looking at the basic structure, but it was in surprisingly good shape. I mean, there was integrity to the building.
That's nice.
Just because primarily water had been kept out of it over the years, which is usually the problem, the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Really, the exterior was the first major phase to the project. We gutted the interior to see what we had, and then really the work started in earnest outside at the same time as the windows were being restored. So yes, what we discovered, a lot of people treat what we had in a pretty superficial way and just do a little light repointing. What we did is we cleaned everything, we ground out all the mortar joints, and then we discovered that we had a lot of deteriorated bricks, and we had, I would say, maybe roughly 15% of the bricks we actually had to physically remove. To which, yes, we had replica bricks made to replace those, and we left all the remaining bricks, which were still in pretty good shape.
How did you go about finding appropriate replica bricks?
We dealt with a brickyard in New Jersey that really specializes in replicating old world bricks.
Nice.
So Jason, our project manager, was able to take those bricks down, meet with some of their experts down there. The first attempt was to try and find reclaimed brick that we could use. When that was unsuccessful, we decided to have our own brick made to match the building, and we actually ordered extra so that some future work can maybe be done.
Nice.
With some courtyards in the back of the property in the future.
How is the wood attached to the masonry? I mean, I see we have wooden floors. What's the interface between the wood and the masonry?
The original wood?
Yeah.
Well, for the floor beams, it's actually effectively sandwiched in. It sits right on the original stone
Okay.
foundation, and then the brick wall comes up from that.
Up around it.
And that's this. I believe that's the same case on the second floor joist. They're actually the floor joists actually mount right on top of the brick wall, and things
I see.
surround it.
From my reading, I understand there's basically 3 ways to fix up an old house. There's preservation, which is the strictest form of conservation, and then there's renovation, which is the owner appreciates the history, but he has to make some necessary accommodations.